the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. How you doing? Today is Wednesday, October 3rd, 2018. 279 days into the new year, just 86 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Before we start to kick things off tonight, I do want to thank Chance and Venice, Magical Egypt. Earlier today, I was on the symposium with Chance. It was an amazing conversation. I had so much fun. I want to thank them and everybody that was hanging out today. It is going on for almost 2 straight weeks. And you can go and check out everything over at magicalegypt.com. But what a great conversation tonight. Chance is the best. And you know, I'm just going to say this. The two of us, Chance and I, it's just a great hangout. It's so much fun, and he is just a tremendous pillar of knowledge when it comes to not only Egypt but all things esoteric and the part of this community that I enjoy so much, which is just researching and lost history and technology and knowledge. And man, he's just so much fun, so easy for me to just sit and talk to. So that's what I did earlier today. So thank you, Venice. Thank you, Chance. Again, I think there's, replays. I'm sure it's all of the previous guests and things are available there, but it's going on live every single day, all the way through, I believe, October 11th, maybe even the 12th. Okay, so magicalegypt.com. Tonight, very special guest and exclusive here on Fade to Black in the Game Changer Network. 20 and Back insider, whistleblower Jason Rice is here. Okay, this is going to be, I know that there are a lot of people here tonight anticipating this conversation, so welcome. And we will have Jason with us at the bottom of the hour. Tomorrow night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. John Rappaport is going to be here with his No More Fake Newsroom live. And then, of course, we switch over to open lines all night long. That is tomorrow night. Social media is a big thing with what we do here on Fade to Black. It has been since the very beginning of the show, so many years ago. OnStellar.com, OnStellar.com is our social media platform of choice. Go over there, hang out, register, and make some friends and share the knowledge. OnStellar.com. Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can follow me right there. If you want to hang out and engage in the conversation during the show tonight, hashtag F2B on Twitter is the sandbox. If you are new to the show tonight, that is fine. Hashtag F2B. Head over to Twitter. There are going to be a few thousand tweets posted tonight during the show. And engage in the conversation with everybody over there, all of the Fadernauts. If you have any questions for myself or for the guest tonight, Jason Rice, hashtag F2BQ. Very simple. Hashtag F2BQ. I have Twitter right up in front of me. Now we have 2 chat rooms, Spreaker, and of course, KGRA The Planet. They have a chat room over there too as well. And you can go and participate and hang out with everybody. Okay, there you go. Social media is live throughout the show. You can also email me directly, Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. Let's get to some breaking news. Right before the show tonight, 7 law enforcement officers were shot, 1 confirmed dead in Florence, South Carolina, at the Vintage Place community housing complex in Florence, South Carolina. It's still being called an active shooter situation. 1 shooter, I don't know if there was more than one shooter is in custody. Florence County Sheriff's deputies were executing a search warrant when a man opened fire. Unbelievable situation going down right now in South Carolina. Last night, I got some more breaking news. Oh, look at Stacy with that bowl of popcorn. Man, that looks good. I'm hungry already. I'm hungry. Last night, I tried to watch the Disney version of A Wrinkle in Time. Okay? I quickly determined that it was quite possibly the worst movie ever made in the history of the universe. Yep, that's right. How bad is it? House Party 3 is better. God, what an awful movie. I mean, bad editing. They just tried to, the script. Oh, it's bad. It is bad. I got about, I lasted about 10 minutes, and I've already wasted too much time on this show. I am doing this as a community service announcement. Do not even think about watching the Disney version of A Wrinkle in Time. Moving on. Check this out. The U.S. Navy right now has announced plans of a show of force in November. What, where, and why, we just don't know yet. This is a fluid and breaking story. We'll have more about it as it develops, but it looks like they're going to put something together and go cruise the South China Sea. I have no idea. Always be careful, man. Never poke a stick in the bear's eye. Right? Just don't do it. Oh, man. But anyway, they've announced the plans. They are going to do it in November, right in time for the midterm elections. You got to love this country. A Utah man, his name is William Clyde Allen III, has been arrested in connection with those suspicious letters that was sent to President Trump and the Pentagon. Allen was taken into custody after federal prosecutors authorized a probable cause arrest, and a criminal complaint will likely be filed in federal court this Friday. Yeah, I'm just going to say it. Let it be known. Don't put a return address on an envelope if you're going to mail ricin through the mail. Bad idea. There you go. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. It's just $2 a month. Go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the podcast banner, and while you are there, help support the show. You can also become a Fadernaut over at our membership section on jimmychurchradio.com. You can even get autographed shirts and hats and all of that fun stuff. You get commercial-free downloadable archives if you wish. There you go. And also become a Fader Not for free, too, as well. It's all right there. Just help support the show. That's how we do this. And while you are there, lots of Anthrax. I have nothing to do with that. You're talking about the band. That's funny. That's funny. Don't forget to visit all of our sponsors here on Fade to Black. All of them. They've been with us since the beginning. It's how this show works. It's the best part of being an American. It's called commercials. That's right. That's right, man. Red, white, and blue. That's how it happens here. Okay, so visit all of our sponsors. They're all products that I use, that I endorse. Go visit all of our sponsors. Click on their banners over at jimmychurchradio.com. Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today, drummer Tommy Lee. Drummer Tommy Lee / porn star Tommy Lee is 56 years old. Sean William Scott is 42. I like Sean William Scott. Very funny guy. Hilarious in Road Trip. How about Dude, Where's My Car? American Pie, right? But have you seen Southland Tales? If you haven't seen that movie, as far as science fiction goes and a look at the future and a true, honest look at Southern California and Venice Beach, man, watch Southland Tales. That is a really good movie. Rita, we're going to watch Southland Tales tonight after the show. I just made up my mind. Our dead guy's birthday today, Stevie Ray Vaughan, 1954 to 1990. Died at the age of 35. And Texas Flood, listen to me. Texas Flood, his first album was released in 1983. And he was killed just 7 years later in 1990. In those 7 short years, Stevie Ray Vaughan changed the world. And I know what everybody's thinking. They're going, okay, Jimmy, what about the guitar? Right? Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan. There you go. All right? Stevie Ray Vaughan. Happy birthday, Stevie. I hope you're up there listening right now. Put this guitar back. Okay. All right. On this day in history, 1995, O.J. Simpson is acquitted. I will never forget that night. We all probably remember where we were. I was in Arizona, and I was driving on the freeway. I was working for Elisa's, and I'm driving down the road, listening to the radio, and heard the announcement. I will never forget that moment. And there you go, 1995, on this day. O.J. Simpson is acquitted. Fader fact. All right, here you go. You ready? The annual number of people worldwide with shark bites is 10 times less than the number of people bitten by other people each year in New York City. There's your Fader fact. Don't ask me where I get this stuff. Please don't ask. But there's your Fader fact. Tonight, very special guest Jason Rice is here. This is a very special Fade to Black exclusive interview. That's right, a new 20 and back insider / whistleblower speaks. And tonight, for the very first time, he will be on not only national radio, but speaking to this community directly. His second episode that he did with Jay Widener was released today on Gaia. I did watch some of it. I'll let you guys know. If you followed me throughout the day today, you know that I was doing the Magical Egypt Symposium. I was up early prepping for that. I had to shave, brush my teeth, stuff like that. So I had to get ready for that. Then I did that. Then I had to get ready for this show tonight. We also had edits and uploads and show prep to do. We had the podcast. We had YouTube. We had all of that stuff that we did throughout the day today. And it was released today on Gaia. So I didn't have the opportunity to watch all of it. I did watch some of it. I don't know if any of you did, but I would like to see your reactions to that. But tonight, Jason is with us live. Tomorrow night is Fader night. John Rappaport's going to be here with his No More Fake Newsroom live, followed by Open Lines all night long. And then after... let's see. Rita said I was turning right on Sherman Way off of 170 West the day OJ was acquitted. Is that right? Is that where you were, Rita? You remember that? Wow. I think we all do. Where were you? I want to see that in Twitter. Where were you the day that OJ was acquitted? Oh, look at that. It looks like... that's actually pretty funny. It looks like I'm playing guitar, doesn't it? With my teeth. That's funny. That's cool. Okay. Yeah, where were you the night that O.J. was acquitted? One of O.J.'s lawyers was a Kardashian. That is correct. That was the downfall of the Western civilization, the Kardashians, I mean. It was also a good movie, The Decline of the Western Civilization. Okay. I love my River Moon coffee, Fade to Black blend. They also have the new superfood version of it. Man, CB Dark is coming out soon, by the way. But go and get yourself some Fade to Black blend. I am actually drinking some right now, rivermooncoffee.com. Okay. Entropy. Entropy. The definition of entropy is... lack of order or predictability, gradual decline into disorder, right? Deterioration, degeneration, crumbling, decline, degradation, decomposition, breaking down, collapse, chaos. Chaos, complete disorder and confusion. Disorder, disarray, disorganization, confusion, mayhem, bedlam, pandemonium, havoc, turmoil, right? Commotion, disruption, upheaval, uproar, maelstrom, chaos, and entropy. We will look back at the years 2016, 2017 as the beginning of entropy and chaos. That's right. And we're going to look at 2018 as the year that it all unraveled. I ask all of you to watch the documentary Idiocracy. Seriously, watch it. Some call it comedy. It's a documentary. We are so there right now. It's really pretty amazing. When you take a serious look at history and we look at the last 2,000 years, yes, think about this for a second. At the time, throughout, it seemed like we were reaching points of spinning out of control, of entropy, of chaos. But it always came back, didn't it? In ancient Egypt, each year, the Nile River would flood, bringing chaos, uncontrolled, sweeping away homes, entire villages, right? But then things would settle. The Nile would bring, with the flooding, would bring fresh topsoil, right? Nutrients, another season of food. Hence, order out of chaos. The ancient Egyptians learned to understand this and to embrace it. Yes, the flooding of the Nile would bring total chaos, unpredictability. How bad would it be this year? But they needed it, and they knew that they had to have it. Bringing down the fresh dirt from Ethiopia, from the mountains, right? They understood this. But over the last 2 millennia, as things got out of control, and we have instances of obvious, like the Dark Ages, right? Plagues. I've had a few of those, right? Worldwide flu. Certainly war. We managed to move forward through each of these stages and get it back together. Order out of chaos with technology and with knowledge and with science. Think about the science that came out of the Dark Ages and the Renaissance. Certainly science today, but think about the progressions that we made, right? Figuring things out. Blood, our systems. That's what we did. And just when it seemed that we have achieved so much, at the point where anything we dream, we can turn into a reality. That's where we are today. A serious moment in our evolution. But we have totally lost it. The true definitions of entropy and chaos are playing out right now, in real time. Everybody knows it. Everybody sees it. Everybody is participating in it. And it seems that nobody cares. The funny thing is that we have thought this before. We have gone through these thoughts before. The 60s, right? Crazy, for sure. I mean, nutty time, the 60s. But it's child's play compared to today. Utter child's play. The 70s, remember how crazy it got? And we had things going down. We had the Cold War. We had the Vietnam War. We had Nixon. We had craziness. Crazy things going down. Terrorism, think about that. What was going down in the Olympics and jets being hijacked all over Entebbe. Just crazy times. Right? Nothing compared to today. The 80s. The 80s today. The 80s actually sounds like fun when you think about it. Compared to today, I don't even know what to think. We will actually look back at 2015 as the good old days. I guarantee it. Happy days. The Fonz. That's what we're going to end up doing. Right now, in the now, right now, every single mass media news source on this planet, in every country, television, print, radio, internet, all of it is 100% making stuff up. Every single one. Pitting one against the other. And then you look at the opposite sides of that fence. You get away from the mass media. You get away from the internet. You get away from corporations. You go to the opposite. And what do you have? You have the single person, the common denominator, the individuals. You have me and you, us, right? Everyone is freaking out. Everybody on this planet is saying, doing, reacting, laughing, crying, yelling, pointing, blaming. Everyone. It doesn't matter what country. Pick a country. It doesn't matter. Right now, I want you to pick a country. They're going nuts. This isn't some U.S. exclusive thing. This isn't some Chinese, Russian, right? No. Spain, Italy, the UK, every country in Central and South America, every country in Africa, everybody has gone bonkers nuts. Everybody. And they don't know why. They don't. They have no idea what's going on. Here's the crazy part. At the head of each corporation, someone is making decisions to do this. It's not an accident. The programming doesn't happen on its own. And when I say programming, I'm talking about every phase of everything, not just mass media. I'm talking about automobiles and clothes and shoes and food and everything. All of it. Somebody else is driving those in power to make it so. And I don't get it. They know it. And you have to ask yourself, how far are they willing to take it? Because they are pushing us. What is it that they actually want to achieve? Why take everyone to the brink? To the brink. You need to really think about what is going on. TV and radio broadcast over the years were one thing. Seriously. Oh, yeah, well, that was instantaneous, right? No, not everyone had access. Not everyone had radios and televisions, right? Think about that. Books, magazines, yeah, you can spread the word with that, but that's slow, and you had to have the money to go or the wherewithal to get down and have a mailbox and have something shipped to you, or you had to be able to go to the supermarket and buy it. Not everybody had access. Not everybody had access in different countries over the years to even get to those types of materials. Today, the internet truly controls the world. And with that, they control emotions. And with that, controls the mind. And it is instantaneous to the nanosecond. This technology could have been used to make things better, to move us ahead, to bring us together. Instead, overnight, it was used to bring chaos and to prove that entropy is the order of the universe. Now, I still have flowers hanging out of my pockets. I really do. I have faith in all of my fellow earthlings. And yes, we will look back on 2018 as the year that it all fell apart. But it'll be 2019 as the year that we put it all back together. It's order out of chaos. Seriously, the ancient Egyptians had it right. And this is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, here exclusively on Fade to Black and all around the world, it is Jason Rice. He is a new 20 and back insider / whistleblower. I'll leave all of that up to you. And let's enjoy the conversation tonight with Jason and see where all of this goes. And then tomorrow night is Thursday. It is another Fader night. John Rappaport's going to be here with his No More Fake Newsroom Live, followed by Open Lines all night long. Tonight, it's Jason Rice. I am your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Come over and hang out with us on Twitter. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Hashtag F2BQ is Fade to Black Questions. I'll be right back after this short break with our guest, Jason Rice. Stay with me.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Times are changing. The circus of politics, healthcare's low standards and high prices, and let's not forget food quality. What to do? Arm yourself with Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. In a world of chemical imbalance and poor air and water quality, it's time you make a move. Log on to getthetea.com and stock up on organic non-GMO supplements. Don't forget the tea. Cleansing your body never felt so good. And we have a brand new tea called Takedown Tea, which helps support healthy glucose. All natural body support so you can be at your best, naturally. All you have to do is log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. We're not a fad that comes and goes. We are the real deal. Join us and armor up. Getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Changing America's health one tea bag at a time.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find Fast Start Diet on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code TALK to get 10% off your first box. And as a special bonus, Fast Start will include their #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. This is Jimmy Church. And whatever your diet plans are, do what I did. Go to faststartdiet.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. You can follow me on Twitter at jchurchradio. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Hashtag F2BQ is Fade to Black questions. And as expected, they are lining up tonight, and keep them coming. I'll get to all of them tonight with our guest, Jason Rice. Jason recently appeared on Gaia's Cosmic Disclosure. The third episode was today. They did 2 last week. Interviewed by Jay Weidner, and is one of many insiders / whistleblowers that are starting to come forward to discuss the 20 and Back program. Tonight, exclusively and for the first time, Jason is here on Fade to Black. He was identified as an intuitive empath, an IE, while enrolled in the experimental behavior study and was recruited into a MyLab program back in 1977, working and training alongside other children in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, in 1985-1986, he was enrolled in 8th grade at Jacksonville, Florida, and underwent his most intensive MyLab training. In 1986 marked the end of an 8-year MyLab training regimen, and at the age of 13, he was assigned to active duty in a 20 and Back program. Then Jason began specialized training in 1994 to serve as an officer in the ground forces of the Interplanetary Defense and Reaction Forces, known as IDARF, secret space program, while he was a student at Florida Tech. Tonight, we will discuss every aspect of his life, the 20 and Back program, the secret space program, the IDARF, and why he has come forward at this time to share his experiences to the world. I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Jason Rice. Jason, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me tonight, Jimmy.
It's good to have you here, and I think this was anticipated by the community and probably yourself and everybody out there that you would very quickly be on Fade to Black, and the community is all here tonight and waiting for this conversation. So welcome and thank you for accepting our invitation to be here. Now, before we move forward, Jason, you get, just like everybody else that is a first-time guest, you get the first-time guest disclaimer. So let's get that out of the way, which is, Jason, this is just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends. Where the conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends, but we're going to end as friends. Okay, simple. You ready to go?
Absolutely, and I'm fully cooperative. And
fully cooperative.
I'm very supportive of that stance.
Yeah.
Let's get the truth out there. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation.
Absolutely. Now, I know that many out there are probably thinking along the same lines as I am right now. And indeed, if you were here in the bunker with me and we were sitting and having a conversation, this would absolutely be the first question that I would ask you. So I'm going to ask you the obvious. Have you met Corey?
Let's have it.
Have you met Corey Goode?
I have, very briefly.
You have very briefly. And what was that conversation like?
Hi, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Thank you for doing everything that you've done for the community. And that was pretty much it.
That was it? Okay. So you were only around Corey one time. Okay. The other part is this. Had Corey not come forward, would you have come forward?
You know, that's a great question. And I have been motivated to come forward because of a number of reasons. And had Corey not, then I would have been very motivated to come forward in some way or another, whether it was one media platform or another social media platform. That would not have changed.
The conversations with friends and family over the years, and I'm talking about before the last couple of years with Corey and David Wilcock and Emery Smith and everything that has been discussed there. Had you discussed any of this, the 20 and Back and the Secret Space program, any elements of it, with friends and family before 2016?
The elements that I've discussed with family had to do with the events of my childhood, when I would leave the house, the other events and memories that came back to me when they started coming back in 2000 and very early on. I didn't have all the pieces. I didn't have all the puzzle pieces put together. So it was a collage of strange memories, strange events, very bizarre occurrences that were happening, but I didn't have enough of a complete picture yet to be able to put together, until much later. And I think a lot of that has to do with personal spiritual growth, individual vibrations, but I think most importantly is the passage of time, as well as where the earth is at in our celestial orbit as far as the energies that Mother Gaia is going through at this time. I think that those contributed tremendously in the awakening process that I went through.
What caused the and I'm just going to let you know, Jason, we are going to move forward at some point and get to the history and the story and the secret space program and the Germans, and we're going to discuss all of that tonight. But I want to establish a firm footing for yourself here, for the community, as to the timeline of all of this, so they can have a general understanding, and so this community itself can move forward too as well. One thing that
absolutely,
one thing that I am about, Jason, here is I'm about community first. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's not about anything else. It's about the community and how they deal with this, because this is a very heavy subject for everybody that we're all trying to digest at the same time. So that's hence
absolutely.
These questions. Okay, so what caused these memories to start coming back? Because I understand that you had memories that were in real time throughout your childhood about what was going on, so you knew something was happening. But as far as the secret space program and Dracos and Mars and the moon and underground bases and training facilities and my lab, all of that, when did those memories start to come flooding back? Was Corey or other conversations out there about the secret space program, did that was that a catalyst for this, or did this happen before these other revelations started to surface?
Well, there's a few questions here. Let's start with the one going back to when I first got out of the U.S. Army, and I was having some issues with PTSD, waking up in the middle of the night fighting, and of course it was all very confusing because I had no frame of reference. So I sought out professional help to get the help I needed, and was able to center myself again in the things that I needed to do to get done to take care of myself and my family and my profession.
Sure.
And went on and went about life. There were a number of events over the years that happened. One of them was, I had some outpatient surgery done one time, and I was in the waiting room as I was coming out of the anesthesia, and I don't recall the conversation, but the nurses were laughing and joking with me afterwards. And I was talking about being in space and helping out humanity, and I didn't recall any of it. And at first I was thinking, gosh, that sounds like a pretty interesting story. It must have been the anesthesia talking.
What year was this?
Okay, wow.
What year was that?
This was in 2002.
2002, so that's 16 years ago. And they brought up, I believe you had said, I don't want to focus on what was already asked on Gaia, and anybody can go and watch the episodes on Gaia. That's fine. We're here to discuss other things. But the nurses did ask you about the secret space program. Is that, you said something similar to that, and that's what they said to you, right?
That's what they'd mentioned to me, talking about being in space and being in some classified program, and that I was talking about helping humanity. Again, this is them telling me what I'd said, and I don't recall any of it still to this day, except the conversation after I'd come out of the anesthesia about what I told them.
Right. And did this help some of the memories come back?
No, as what I refer to as parting gifts from these USAPs. And let's keep in mind, too, make no mistake about it, every person that goes in to a 20 and back SSP program has their minds tinkered with. Make no mistake about that. That leaves an impression that's different for each person. And so having those parting gifts that they leave with you, some of them include, I guess you can call it suggestions, commands, triggers for seeking out destructive behavior or for changing your behavior if you start thinking or going into too deeply into trying to discover or find out information about what's happened. And so my programming held up and it worked. And, every time that I would think that, that's pretty strange. Maybe I should look up something about that. Something would happen and that I would be completely distracted and far too busy with other things to be thinking about any strange conspiracy.
Then you would, I think naturally, you would have to ask yourself, are these memories that have been implanted? Have I been programmed? Or these are real memories, these are real events, and that's a bad situation. And the third thing could be that you're just crazy, right? That you've lost your mind.
Of course. I that's absolutely right. I got my training in college as a scientist, as an engineer. And so going all the way through, the standard scientific process, you go through and you ask yourself these questions. Am I losing my mind? What in the world's going on? Why am I having these thoughts or memories or what's going on? One of the things that I can tell you is that the memories are crystal clear when they first come back. And it's like the difference between watching the old rabbit ear television, black and white with the big knob on the front, and watching a high definition LED TV. It's the memories I've gotten to recognize that the memories when they come back, they're vastly different than, just a normal dream and walking around my yard. It's not the same. So, of course I ask myself, what in the world is going on? And so it, as a scientist, is another component, another piece in the puzzle. And, the awakening process is both invigorating, terrifying, enlightening, and ultimately a very spiritual experience, because you realize the things and possibilities that are out there that you've done. And so trying to impart that information to other people is challenging, to say the least. Because it is such a departure from our normal frame of reference that we have to, try and, how can I explain this? It's like trying to explain the concept of time dilation or timelines. I mean, you can get into an entire 5-hour conversation of trying to explain how time works. And in this consensus reality, that information has not been released. And so some of the memories are still hidden, and this is an ongoing dynamic process, at least for me. And so I have memories that still are coming back, bits, pieces here, more parts of the puzzle. So if I knew and had a better understanding of time travel, time manipulation, which I'm almost certain I did, because as an engineer I would have drilled down into it and found out what it was and what it was about, then I could explain it better than I do. But it goes along the lines of, how do I piece this together? And so as the memories started coming back more and more and more, and as I said, it was a tremendously spiritual experience because of realizing what had happened, the pain and the trauma that you have to clear out from your energy centers in order to be able to carry on with life without going crazy. and end up being a homeless person on the street and babbling or drooling and just not making any sense.
Are there any other crew members, people that you worked with in the program that you are in contact with today?
In a word, yes.
Well, what does that mean? I mean, you could say in a word, no, too, and that would still mean yes. Right. So, what do you mean?
Yes. However, I do not want to violate the free will of others in being red-pilled. So, whether or not another person remembers, it's not my responsibility to go and wake them up, because each person determines their own speed, their own determination for when or if they even get red-pilled.
Sure.
And wake up.
Yeah, but okay. So if you're in touch, do any of you talk about the experiences? Do you guys sit around and go, okay? Do you remember that time when we were, no. on Sedona, Sidonia on Mars? You guys don't sit around and do that? And talk about the food on Mars?
No.
Okay. I'm being a little cavalier. I apologize for that. But you know how it is.
I understand.
You're hanging out with your coworkers.
Yeah, hey, you remember on that ship when we were all packed in like cattle? And,
right.
And the colonel came over the intercom and was talking to us, giving us all a motivation speech before we departed the space station. Yeah, no.
Do you anticipate to have those conversations with somebody? And also, because of this show, and certainly Gaia, you are now being exposed to others out there that may remember you and that may reach out. Do you anticipate that happening? There must have been hundreds, if not thousands, out there in this program. If everything that you and Corey and others say is true, then there are a lot of people out there with these same experiences.
Thousands from every country on the planet, except those that do not have a central bank.
Right, of which there are 6. So there's nobody from the 20 and Back program from North Korea.
That's correct.
I'm wondering, the delay is good.
Well,
okay.
Trying to think it through. Of course, again, this was all back in '91 when I first went into the program. So, thinking back, I don't have the central bank list memorized to be able to tell you, okay, back at that time, this country and that country didn't have central banks.
There is one interesting aspect to your conversations with Jay Weidner that I made note of, and that is your history. Not your personal history. I'm talking about the history of ufology, of science, of the military, of different events that have happened, paperclip or whatever. Where did you acquire this knowledge of history? Was it taught to you as part of the program?
Part of the conventionally available information about history was one of those subtle signs of my awakening process, was an interest in this topic or that topic or that topic, and an almost insatiable need to find out more information about that. So that conventional information, for instance, Operation Paperclip, Operation Castle 1, 2, 3, or 4, those types of information which we have available through the wonderful invention of the internet, you can find out a lot of information on. The information that is not published, a lot of the history, for instance, was conveyed to me by one of my fellow soldiers.
What was, we've got 2 minutes. What was his name?
Johan.
Okay, we're going to talk.
We'll use that name. That's not his real name.
Oh, that's
the
okay.
name that we're going to use.
Okay. The other parts of this, when we are dealing with your answers, not only tonight but through Gaia, when you're talking about the history of Mars or the history of the moon, these are things that aren't. It's the opposite. It's not conventionally found on the internet. Is this
That's
information taught to you in the program, or are you picking this up as, from scuttlebutt from other soldiers?
This is information that is not taught to us ground pounders in the program that I was in. Again, you got to remember, the secret space program and the Cabal have assured their privacy, their secrecy by compartmentalization. And so, as was mentioned on Gaia's Cosmic Disclosure, the Manhattan Project had over 100,000 people working on it, but they didn't know that. And so, through compartmentalization, they were able to keep the full picture away from so many people. And I think a more modern, a more today example of this would be if you believe in the QAnon phenomenon. Q has said that there are less than 10. My feeling is that there are probably 7 of them that actually know the full plan. But rest assured that there are thousands of people working for those goals, because through compartmentalization, the air traffic controller helped with the planes that were on an operation for the pilots that knew they had a mission, but they don't know the full picture. They're still involved, but they don't know the full picture. So through compartmentalization, they're able to keep it to a very few, small number of people that know the full picture.
Right.
They don't have to tell the ground pounders what's going on.
Right. Let's take Jason, let's take a break right here, and we'll pick up right where we're leaving off. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight is Jason Rice. Jason, if you have been under a rock, Jason is a new insider, 20 and Back program /whistleblower. He's got 3 episodes with Jay Weidner that are over at Gaia Television. Tonight is an exclusive here on Fade to Black. Jason Rice is here, and we'll pick up this conversation when we come back after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied. But you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Hello, I'm Katie Lee, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Well,
You We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
Reclaim your active lifestyle with Angioprim. Angioprim is the original liquid oral chelation supplement. Chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in your veins and arteries that can cause blockages. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. Find out more. Go to angioprim.com. Talk to a trained consultant by calling Angioprim toll-free 877-882-7221.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox on Twitter. Hashtag F2BQ is Fade to Black questions on Twitter. Post them right there for myself or for Jason. And speaking of social media, Jason, one of the things, no matter what you're an insider on or whatever, it could be any aspect of life, a whistleblower, insider, is a footprint in social media, background, records. You were in the military. There seems to be a lack of social media presence for you. Why is that? And is Jason Rice your real name?
You know, those are great questions. Yes, that is my real name. There's a very specific reason why I don't have a website, and that has everything to do with I have come out to talk about my story, and I am not interested in attention for me. I have had a couple of years of time in which I could have started posting, but I was legitimately concerned about the safety, security, and privacy of my family. So I made the choice not to start blasting the internet with information about the things that I have to say.
Well, the community and media and journalists out there are going to look into your background. You're expecting that. Has that already started?
I would be very surprised if it hasn't. I do want to say that I have plans and a website in the works, which I'll be coming out with. I expect to have it out sometime in the next month or so. Again, I am a family man and have worked in the engineering field, and this has come out as a method to respect and honor those that I served with, as well as to help raise the consciousness and awareness of everybody that I can about what's been going on, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, whatever it is. And so I have come out to do that, and protecting and respecting my privacy and my family's privacy. You only have to look at what's been happening in Washington, D.C. to see what people can do to a family, to recognize that, hey, look, this is a real life we're talking about, a real family, real people. And so, I didn't want it to turn into a circus at my house. And so I've very specifically did not go public until things were ready to be aired on Gaia. A large reason for that has been I was concerned with my safety. The people that run these programs have absolutely zero respect for the life and of us people, if you will. They've killed presidents, they've killed generals, they've killed thousands of other people in the blink of an eye. What's some engineer in such and such city to them? Nothing. So my coming public has now closed off one avenue in which I don't think they're going to come after me directly. However, they have other tools at their disposal. The next one's going to be character assassination. The next one's going to be a possible financial ruination. There's the whole list. You go through their playbook. You just look around. It's not hard to find. So my concerns were very real, very valid, and coming out at one time was the best way that I could come up with improving my chances of making sure that myself and my family were safe.
Do you have plans? Have you thought about sitting down with Corey or other whistleblowers that may end up coming forward and working together, or taking notes, or trying to figure out a way to move forward?
Jimmy, that's a fantastic question. I'm glad you asked, because I have nothing to fear by sitting down with other whistleblowers. I'm not concerned about encroachment on what I have to say, because you know what? This is my truth, my experiences. Everybody else that's in this SSP through the compartmentalization process, as well as the different programs, have their own experiences. Now, there's some things that we will share if we weren't in the same programs. Obviously, if we are in the same ones, we'll have a lot to talk about. However, I look forward to that. I welcome that. And I think that, especially in this day and age, and I can't be grateful enough for the mainstreaming of the whole scientific process, taking responsibility for information, for knowing what's going on, and that it's required people to ask the hard questions. It's forced people to look into satanic ritual abuse and child abuse and human trafficking and all the ugliness that exists out there, because it's made people more aware and raised the overall consciousness awareness of what's happening around us. And so this particularly is a great time in which, hey, there's not a better time than now for this community and the whistleblowers to work together, to not be either protective or afraid of encroachment or having a fear that their voice is no longer going to be heard. That's not what this is about. This is about finding out information, because you know what? Disclosure is going to happen. I refer to it as Disclosure D-Day. There's going to be a dump, and at some point in time, I fully expect and ask for, let me back up. I fully expect and demand full disclosure. Don't hold anything back, period. There's going to be that dump day, D-Day. It's going to happen. And I think now, with the population being more open to the other things and stuff that used to be considered tinfoil hat conspiracy theories, a lot of people are waking up and going, wow, they did that? Oh my gosh, holy cow. What a better time for it to happen.
After you left the program and, raising your family, married, all of that stuff, did you have a handler? Did you have anybody that stayed with you and in touch and communicated with you after you left the program and went into civilian life?
No, I did not.
Has anybody reached out?
Not that I was aware of. There have been a number of instances where I suspect that I was getting closer to recall, and I suspect that there were some re-abduction and re-wiping that occurred, but those are only suspicions. So I don't have memory recollections of those. Those are just suspicions at this point, based on some circumstantial evidence.
Has anybody reached out to you since the episodes of Gaia have aired?
No.
Do you anticipate that?
As in, other contacts in the SSP?
As somebody from the Pentagon, somebody from the Secret Space Program, do you anticipate, would you be surprised that they would reach out to you to tell you that it's okay, that it's not okay, whatever it may be, but would that surprise you?
If you'd asked me this question 2 years ago, I would have said, no, there's no way. They'll probably send a black van. But today, given the changes that are occurring, no, it wouldn't surprise me. But you know what? I do have to say this. I am a chess player, not a chess piece. I like playing chess. I don't like being a piece in it.
So what you're saying is you're trying to stay 2 moves ahead, 10 moves ahead.
Well, I'm trying to like be chess player. No, what I'm trying to say is that if you speak the truth with love, and the truth will set you free. And so I don't believe that the paradigm of secrecy works. It's had far too many failures, and the planetary consciousness is no longer accepting that program that they're trying to feed and force feed us. And so I will not be a piece in a game to be controlled or handled.
The announcement of, and now we're gonna move forward very quickly here, but the announcement by Donald Trump, our president, of the Space Force was announced, and I think all of us raised an eyebrow as to the timing of it and to what is actually being represented by creating this and a new wing of our armed forces and a new division of the Pentagon. That being said, is this part of the secret space program?
I suspect, because again, I'm not a part of the Q team and I'm not a part of the DoD in any way. So this is just civilian Jason telling you my suspicions based on my intuition and the information that I have is that you remember last year all those launches that occurred globally were all rockets in a real short period of time. What were they putting up? Well, I'm sorry, that's classified. Can't tell you. Yes, it's a DoD rocket. I doubt very seriously that there was anything in them. My feelings are that that was a cover for some of the already SSP assets in place, so that coming back they can say, yeah, I remember when we launched those things. I've worked at KSC. You ask any other space engineer, how long does it take to design, prep, and build a satellite? And they don't keep these things just laying around in a warehouse. They don't. They're too expensive, far too classified, too many security risks just to have them sitting around. So they custom build them for a launch. And these are planned years in advance. So, okay, Trump hasn't been in office that long for them to have built and gone through the entire process, even in a black project, to build a satellite. There just wasn't enough time. So I think that Trump's mentioning or coming out with, hey, we're going to have the new Space Force was a part of the unmasking, the drip disclosure, to get to the point where he can say, hey, look, we've got these assets in space. Hey, look, we've got this technology in space. I have some other suspicions that we can get into. In fact, we could talk about that at another night or this evening about a number of things, and it has to do with the Mars Germans.
We're going to get to the Mars Germans, and I had to go back and listen a few times to make sure that was exactly what you were saying. All right? I was like, did he say Mars Germans? We're going to spend some time on that. Let's go back now to your childhood. Did you have any interaction with E.T., any sightings, any visitations, any possible childhood abductions? Did you have any interfacing with E.T. or any species before my lab?
I did. As a matter of fact, the whole reason behind my pulling the escape artist routine was because at 2 years old, I was in my backyard and looked up and saw what looked to be a flying saucer. And it was a few yards over at an altitude that was higher than the trees. Can't tell you what it was exactly.
You were 2. How do you remember that? Was this through regression?
This has been part of the awakening process, regaining some of these memories. And so having that memory come back, of course, it was a huge shock. And I didn't meet Stian, was the name he told me, face-to-face for some time. But I was able to strike up a relationship with him, if you will, a friendship, in which he was here. What he told me was he was here to observe and record information on humanity, to learn about us. He looked like a human. He was, at that age, he was huge and tall, so I can't tell you exactly how tall he was. My guess is somewhere 5'8" to 6 foot. Long blonde hair, Nordic features, wore kind of a greenish blue skin tight bodysuit, boots, and communicated with me mentally, telepathically.
Let me jump in really quick here. Sure. This interaction with Stian, was this known to us, my lab, the government? Was this part of the program? Is this why you were selected for my lab, because of what happened when you were 2?
Well, they later found out about those experiences. From what I understand, they couldn't localize me because I was such a young child that it was very hard for them to lock on to either, because at that time they were using other psychics or remote viewing. The early 70s, they didn't have the technology yet to specifically say, oh, look, there's an energy signature. Oh, yeah, we've got an address and 5 vans. Let's go pick them up and find out what happened. They didn't have that technology yet. So the two weren't
related, right? The two situations weren't related. Stian and my lab are 2 separate incidences that had nothing to do with each other.
No, that's correct. They did not have anything specifically to do with each other at that time. They found out about it through asking questions eventually once they were able to get me in the program.
When, as you started to grow up, I again, most of these questions are already on Gaia, and I don't want to repeat that. But what was your first memory of when you were in elementary school of being approached by members of MyLab?
Well, they discovered me through this psychological behavioral modification program, and the program, as you've seen, involved putting children in a box. And what it was is, I don't think that got into that on the episodes on air anyway, it was very classic programming. I was told to stay in a seat. And, of course, I'm in a room full of toys and things to do and bright colors. And as soon as they put me down, I'm there for 5 seconds. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. And so I jumped up and I started playing with toys. Well, the doctor there would pick me up and put me in the box, close the door. And, of course, I'd kick, scream, yell, holler, do everything I could to try and get out. The second I stopped, he would open the door and pull me out, put me in the chair, and give me an M&M. This went on for a number of years, and my parents, because, of course, having children that escape the house and disappear terrifies a parent, and they freaked out. So they were willing at that point, after the police brought me back a number of times, found me, that they were willing to try anything because fear didn't work. Intimidation didn't work. Spanking didn't work. They couldn't yell at me enough. None of it. I wanted to go see my friend. Of course, I told them I wanted to go meet someone. And they're like, okay, yeah, you're not getting out of this house. So they had a box at home that they used as well.
That sucks.
Now, there's other...
That absolutely sucks.
Well, here's a funny story. I've since talked to some of my siblings about the boxes at home, and my siblings were like, oh my God, it inspired them to act better at home because they were wondering when they were going to be put in the box. So, I mean, I laugh about it now, but you have to see the humor of children is that, like, oh my gosh, I better be good or I'm going to get put in the box too.
Are your brothers are your brothers and sisters alive?
Yes.
Eventually, somebody's going to approach them. You know that, right? Sure. Somebody's going to come up and go, okay, what's the story here?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there were a lot of memories that were wiped from me of my interactions with Stian until, decades later, until I started waking up, fully coming to a lot of the memories coming back. But they remember the box. They remember me disappearing. They had no notion or no information about Stian. I knew at that time that he was just my friend.
When the interactions for you started in the program itself, in SSP, did you have any contact with Stian at that point? No. He was only interacting with me for probably 18 months. After 18 months of me bolting out of the house, my parents had found a behavioral psychological program that they put me in, and he knew that his continuing to hang around, because he told me this. He told me essentially that his continued presence was going to cause me irreparable harm. So he told me goodbye, and I never saw him again. With the Draco, reptilians, and other ET species and civilizations that we're going to discuss when we come back, what was Stian's race involved with? Were they part of any of your experiences in the SSP? Not Stian himself, but who he was part of.
At 2 to 3.5 years old, I was only interested in the shiny things he was wearing and how cool his spacecraft looked. So geopolitical politics was not at the top of my list.
Right, but
I did not ever see any other Nordics, is about as close as I can get.
Right.
In any of the other programs that I was involved with, unless they were there and either hidden or just blending in, and I didn't know it.
Now, this is just got posted out of Australia. I was going to ask this a little bit later on, but I'm going to do it now. Did you see any blue avians? Or what about the triangle-headed, the golden triangle head being that Corey has referenced? Did you ever see anything like that?
No.
Never?
Never.
Did you, when you've heard, of course you've seen Cosmic Disclosure and you've listened to Corey, maybe even on this show too as well, some of the other beings and the Mayans and the other interactions that he had on the council and so forth, did that bring back any memories? Did it seem like anything that you had experienced yourself?
No, I have no memory or recollection of those at this time.
So
once we get into the mechanics, if you will, of the program that I was involved with and the purpose for how and why it was formed, I think you'll understand a little bit more why my interactions with those particular aliens just wasn't there.
No, I totally get it. But my questions are...
You had to ask.
I mean, well, hey, man, if I was in your shoes and I'm listening to somebody like Corey or Emery or any of these other experiencers out there, I want to know if there's anything that you guys can connect the dots on, or if you connected any of those dots. But no, I totally understand. Two separate programs.
Yeah, I will tell you that I know from my memories that there were scientists that were on the planets that I was stationed on that were taking samples from some of the deceased combatants that we'd fought. And so I am almost 100% certain that those samples made their way back to either Emery's table or one of his associates' tables.
Fascinating. Let's take a break right here, and when we come back, we'll pick up where we are leaving off, but we're going to get right into those Mars Germans that we were talking about earlier, the IDARF. We're going to talk about the second planet, too, as well, and, of course, Johan. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight is Jason Rice, 20 and Back Insider that has now come forward. It's Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Teppy. Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
If you have hard water, the Lime Scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate Lime Scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm hanging out on Twitter, too, as well. Sorry for the delay. Our guest tonight is Jason Rice, 20 and Back Insider that has decided to come forward. He has 2 episodes that went up last week on Gaia and another one that was just released today and tonight. Exclusively here on Fade to Black. Jason joins us. And look, I'm going to say this to everybody for you, Jason, that I just, I talked to you a couple of times before the show over the last week. And I told you that, look, I am going to ask the questions. Some of them are going to be tough. And you said, Jimmy, just bring it. I am here to answer anything. And so I want everybody to know that not only did Jason agree to that, of course, but that there are no questions that are predetermined. There's nothing here in front of me. I have no notes. This is just another conversation that happens here on Fade to Black, and where it goes, and we'll figure things out. And there will be future shows too as well. That being said, Jason, You brought up a couple of things that I raised an eyebrow about with Jay Weidner, and that I had never heard before. One of those, and I was waiting for clarification on this, but I didn't get through the entire broadcast or the entire show, so I don't know if you did. But you referred to a second planet. What was that?
Second planet, that's the only planet on my deployments that I've recalled the name that we referred to it as, Calidus 3.
Okay. And where is it?
That's a great question. I wish I could answer that. As a ground pounder, we were stowed away deep inside the ship. We stayed within our areas. We were not allowed to go within any of the Navy's part of the ship. The canners had their areas that were closed off, locked off, and we were only allowed if we had direct orders, in which we were supposed to go and report somewhere else. Other than that, we stayed in IDARF country.
Did you, we're going to go backwards, but since we're here, I'll ask this now. Did you engage and kill aliens?
I did.
How many?
More than I can count.
A dozen? 100? What?
Thousands.
You killed thousands of aliens.
The type of warfare that we were involved with. The entire purpose behind IDARF was so that they could franchise evil. And the way that they did that was they would arrive at a planet that was at a certain technological advancement, and they would show the different faction leaders or clan leaders images and tell them that there were aliens on the way. Can you say false flag? So that they could garner their permission to, quote unquote, help them defend that planet. So that's where we came in. So the franchising of evil operation involved co-opting a world's population to believe that they were being invaded so that this group could come in and help them, because the ultimate goal was to get them under a one world government, and it involved usually reducing anywhere from 40 to 60% of the planet's population. And in the process, the mass landings that occurred during that, there were thousands, tens of thousands that were invaded. These hybrid alien creatures that came in to do their dirty work were the result of manufactured life forms specifically to do and carry out those orders.
Can you describe to me and the audience your uniform, identification, and patches?
I can absolutely do that. The uniforms were form-fitting. We had a number of uniforms. Let me back up. We had a number of uniforms. The field uniforms were form-fitting. They had, I forget the name of them, but straight-up collars. We also had camouflage pattern. It was like a digicam, sort of. We didn't rely on the uniforms for camouflage per se, because we had technology that allowed us to disappear, so we thought, to phase in and out of view. So the pattern or the camouflage of the uniforms was more for garrison purposes than anything else. The real technology in the uniforms came through from the layering of the material, the anti-ballistic properties of the material, as well as the heat and cooling dissipation of the material. They were also electrical generations. That's one of the uniforms. That's the field uniform. The patches on it were those of us from Earth had a plane E on one shoulder, and on the other shoulder we had the unit designation that we were in, which was the Panzer Division. And that one was what I first thought was a really strange-looking rampant dragon. And it turns out it was a rampant bear. Specifically, the Berlin bear.
And we're obviously jumping back to some German references that we need to clarify for everybody, and I find that part of all of this very interesting. Let's go back to the ET, the aliens, or whatever we're going to call them, that you were fighting on these planets. Can you describe them? Was it one specific type of ET or species, or were they from multiple planets?
These were created hybrids. They were part biological tissue and part mechanical. So they had mechanical joints, and in between the joints was biological material. The first planet, Planet One, had these hybrid beings, half mechanical, half biologicals. They resembled, as close as I can describe, to a biomechanical werewolf with reverse jointed knees.
Did they walk on all fours, or did they walk upright?
They walked upright.
Interesting.
They didn't run, but they could jump and they could walk at a speed walk.
Did they have uniforms?
No. They had body armor in some places. It looked like body armor. It was more like part of the mechanical makeup.
The planets, Planet 1 and Planet 2 that we are talking about, I'm assuming were not in our solar system. So that means you were doing interstellar, space travel.
Yes.
It must have taken a while. What was the technology that was used for these propulsion systems?
Well, being that we were stored away, I don't have any memories yet of the propulsion systems. Again, we were kept sequestered in our areas and weren't allowed into, especially any of the engineering sections on the ship. So I can't tell you what type specifically of propulsion that they used. I have suspicions that it was some type of quantum drive that allowed for a portal formation so that they could travel. We would spend between a few weeks and a couple months on the ship, in between, getting out and actually taking a look around, and otherwise just being inside the ship.
Well, we have 6 or 8 stars that are close to us. Alpha Centauri being the closest, which is 4.5 light years away, and then we've 6, 8, 10, 12 light years from Earth. We're talking about a great length of time to travel, but you were able to. You're talking to me right now, so that's
right.
You made these trips fairly quickly, and that's if you were at these 6 or 8 closest stars to us.
That's correct. Now, my suspicions are that these star systems that we were in were on the back of beyond, even more so than Earth. Because, they targeted very specific civilizations that had made very specific technological advances because they knew that they had the highest chances of success if they were able to go into those types of civilizations. Say, for a frame of reference, some of the civilizations that we were deployed to, that I was deployed to, had more advanced power generation than we currently do. but they also, at the same time, used wheeled carts. So it was a kind of mixture between mid-1800s birth of the Industrial Revolution, as well as these societies chose not to progress into technology. And I think that there's something to be said about their targeting specifications, because while they may have had home or building power generators in which they tapped into the earth and used the excess energy from their planet, and I say earth, I use that term loosely, so bear with me, their earth, to tap into it and pull out the electricity that they used within their buildings. But then again, they didn't have any internal combustion engines like we have. They used wheeled carts. They used one of the planets that we spent a lot of time in. They had canals in which they used boats. They used another type of electric drive, and I wish I remembered more, because I know that that's something that would have piqued my interest as an engineer, but I just don't have those memories yet.
Is Earth safe in that you are out dealing with revolutions and one world orders on these other planets? Certainly these races are aware of our planet. Are we safe here?
These races that were ultimately pulling the strings on these operations?
Of course.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure I understand. They're already here. Their attempt to control things here has been embedded in the 12 or 13, depending on who you ask, bloodline families. And so, they're here. Make no mistake about it. Now, is Earth safe? Well, I guess that's a relative term. Safe from what? Are they safe from an alien invasion? I don't think we have to worry about that. There are rules in place that prevent them from doing something similar here. That doesn't mean that it wouldn't be attempted by the bloodline families to try and shake things up, especially right now, because they're a little busy, if you haven't noticed. So, to try and rearrange the board. But I don't think that we have to worry about an alien mass landing here. One of the things that they have to have is they have to have free will of the planet inviting them in. And we don't have that here, which is the whole reason why they manipulated the situation so that those planets that we were on invited them in. Oh, yeah, we're going to be attacked. Help us, please. Come in, please. Open arms. Well, they didn't know what they were inviting into their homes.
The mention earlier of Panzer and, of course, the Mars Germans, you have mentioned, I want to get into this right now. You also mentioned that all of your commanding officers were German. Okay, yeah. Now we need some explanation here and clarification. Why is this the case?
The parent organization for the unit that I was in was Mars German, originated and commanded. And the reason for that is they held the cards when the deal was struck, and we can get into that at some point. I think that's at least another hour conversation. Mm-hmm. When the deal was penned, that was part of the arrangement, was that, look, we need people, and you're going to get X, but we're going to be in charge. We're going to determine where they go and what they do, and none of Earth's forces that are going to be involved in this program are going to make above the rank of major, because they're not going to be in command positions, because those are all going to be Mars Germans.
Okay, let's clarify. Well, let's clarify really quick, because we're going to discuss this a lot. What is a Mars German?
Okay, a Mars German is the breakaway civilization that started off in Antarctica. And I think we covered some of that in Gaia's episode recently.
Mm-hmm.
And once they moved everything out of Antarctica, they still had their facilities there and enough manufacturing capability that they could do things there if they wanted to. But you got to remember, they'd already started their civilization cities on Mars. And so New Berlin and New Wurzburg were the results of those. And they had a significant population by 1990 in which that was their home. That's where they were. That's where they were based out of. They were no longer based out of Antarctica.
They were on Mars.
They were on Mars. They could do anything and everything they wanted to there. Didn't have to worry about any other pesky governments sneaking in or coming in and doing this or that and wiping out their civilization. It was a continuity of their species in their minds, considering that they're the same species as we are. But that's their mentality. Okay, let's create a place where we feel like we can be safe. The result was 2 Mars German cities where they have a breakaway civilization.
Now, we are talking about the Draco here, and that's how the Germans wound up in Antarctica. And this has been talked about before in the past, but that's what we're dealing with here. And the Germans discovered certain technology down in Antarctica, if I'm understanding all of this correctly, which allowed them to, in the late 30s, during World War II and the 40s, to go to the moon and go to Mars. Were the Draco already occupying the moon and Mars at this time?
Well, just to clarify a little bit, the Draco did not give the Germans technology.
No, they discovered it.
Them.
Right. They made a deal.
We made a deal, and the technology that was found down there, the Germans had to hand that over. So they didn't get any piece of that. None of that action went to Germany for 25 years. That was part of the deal. And so after that deal, they were able to actually get some of the stuff and start figuring it out because they had not been able to get their hands, or their engineers and scientists had not been able to get their hands on it because they've had to turn it all over.
How were
the technologies that...
Yeah, go ahead, Jason. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that the technologies that they developed to build their base on the moon as well as on Mars bases, they had organically developed. And that had started off with the secret societies of the 30s, those prototypes that were already in operation when the Germans took them. So they'd already started with a car, and then, okay, well, let's make a Ferrari now.
And so the technology was in place and the logistics and the infrastructure was in place for the secret space program. The Germans had the jump on it in front of all of the rest of us. Therefore, those are the commanding officers in this program today. The infrastructure is there because they built it first.
Well, one of the things we haven't covered is the agreement behind how IDARF was started and the commanding officers being German.
Let's go.
Well, all right, let's do it. When in 1990 timeframe, the Germans were tired of and did not want to be involved with the Draco any more than they absolutely had to. And if you recall, the piece of property that they had traded for was part of the Draco territory. And so they decided they wanted to go somewhere else. Unfortunately, they still had time left on the clock for their lease. And that contract was specific. They couldn't change that. And so they had to find somebody else that would take over the lease. Well, any guesses who it was that they found to take it over? The Cabal, who happened to be looking for a moon base in the early 90s, and who was more than happy to pen a deal with them. Well, the deal turned out that the Cabal had to provide about 25,000 soldiers for use where and when that the Mars Germans needed. And those soldiers ended up being the IDARF ground soldiers. And they the Mars Germans put protections in place so that they would always maintain control of it, which is how and why they limited command positions to just the Mars German-born. And it also meant that they were able to field a large number of combat forces without having to dedicate or devote that large of a number of their own troops.
Back in 2001, Sergeant Carl Wolf did some testimony where he described when he was working with NASA back in 1965, 1966, and they were looking at topography that was shot on the moon. And he looked at photographs of the... Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, what was that?
It was a door falling. Sorry.
That was okay. Just want to make sure you're okay.
Yeah, no, nobody's beating down the window.
Right. So Sergeant Wolf describes looking at some images that were shot on the backside of the moon of a base, of a big base that was on the backside. Now, is that okay? So, are you familiar with what Sergeant Wolf had stated back in 2001?
No, that's absolutely fascinating.
Okay.
I'll definitely check out.
Okay, so when the Germans arrived on the moon, well, actually, let's get ahead. Who occupies the moon today? Who is in control of the moon today?
The Mars Germans still have a base there. It's just not where it used to be. The Cabal's secret space program now occupies the grounds where the old Mars German moon base was.
Now, isn't
the swastika shape that's now been filled in, so it looks like a bunch of rows of buildings.
And you have described the moon as actually that's artificial.
That's correct.
Okay, so what is on the inside of the moon? In that we describe bases on the outside. That's what you're describing now, the swastika-shaped base. But that's on the outside, but the entire moon is artificial. It's a ship, right?
It is artificially augmented. There are parts of it that are machine. There are parts of it that are rock and stone, and you've got about 2 miles of the best radiation protection on the surface.
Okay, so it's half natural. I got it. It's an augmented natural facility. We need to take a break right here. We're at the top of the hour, so let's do that. And when we get back, we've got to talk about Mars, and well, they're called Mars Germans, right? So let's talk about Mars, and we're going to continue this conversation. Fascinating stuff, Jason. You stay right there. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. We got Falling Doors with Jason, but everything's okay on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. Dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from Rivermoon. Just click on the Rivermoon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Teppy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Jason Rice. Jason recently appeared on Gaia's Cosmic Disclosure. He was interviewed by Jay Weidner. 2 episodes premiered last week on Gaia, and a 3rd episode premiered today. I personally only watched about 10 or 15 minutes of it. And Jason, I apologize for that. I had an incredibly busy day, and of all the days for that episode to happen, it was today. But
I understand. Hopefully, you get a chance to watch it.
I'll get through all of it. I'm fascinated with it for sure. And Jay's been doing a pretty good job of asking the right questions. Now,
Jay's been doing fantastic, and there's been I think questions I've seen on whether or not it was rehearsed or staged or scripted. And, I've got to tell you, I couldn't get any information out of them about what we were going to talk about. And so, I can vehemently tell you that it was not scripted by any means.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I'm glad that you bring that up. I wanted to ask about the Germans doing interplanetary travel much way before 1969 and Apollo 11 and us going to the moon. How did they get to the moon? How did they get to Mars?
They had their own anti-gravity technology, going back to the late 30s, in which by the time that they were building out their base on the moon and starting their base on Mars, they'd already made some advancements on that original technology. So, it's like taking a colonial town and handing over internal combustion engine to them. The Vril Society, as well as the other secret societies, already had working models, working prototypes of these anti-gravity saucers. And so the Germans had a huge leg up in that they were able to start. One of the things I found extremely fascinating is that, the Antarctic Germans at the time had that technology when Admiral Byrd went down, and when his operation was turned around and returned back to the United States, it was, 4 or 5 months later, that's it, that we had the crash in Roswell. It wasn't very long after Admiral Byrd returned. And so my thoughts on it are that there were those that felt the playing field needed to be leveled. And so that Roswell was a deliberate crash to deliver a care package.
Let's change gears a little bit. I want to get as much in as possible. Let's go back to IDARF and what was going on here. First off, where did you deploy to when you left Earth? What city? What country?
When I left Earth.
Yes, you left Earth, right?
Yeah,
so
I know,
you had
what
to.
City, what country did I deploy to?
Where's the base at where you're obviously getting onto a craft at some point and then leaving Earth and then probably, I would assume, transferring to another larger ship, right?
Sure. One of the waypoints that I remembered coming back into, and this was on my return back to Earth, was Area 51. The departure point for Earth is primarily Antarctica.
So you would be here in the United States. You would go down to Antarctica and then leave Earth into Earth.
A shuttle onto another ship. And then once we're inside, there's no windows, so they could be next to a sun, and I would have no clue.
Sure. What was the ship like? Can you describe that for us in Antarctica that took you up into orbit? What was that ship like?
The shuttle ship for that particular trip, I don't recall at this time, but I can tell you about the shuttles that I do remember. There was a shuttle that about the size of a bus. It was an anti-gravity propulsion system. during one of our training events down in Antarctica, where they would drop us off, and we were required to use our IE skills as well as the survival training in order to make it back to our base. The drop-off point that they used was an old ship, and the memory that I had that came back did not include my walking around the stern of the ship. So I started looking for ships. Okay, well, let's see what kind of ships we can find as far as information goes. And I found a ship that is a dead ringer for the one that they dropped us off at. Now, let me back up a little bit. When they dropped us off with anti-grav type sleds, if you will. If you can imagine a dog sled and a wave runner combination, so it had a large cargo area in front of you, but it had a seat and the controls behind that. Each one of our sleds were programmed to fail after a certain amount of time because they wanted us to be on foot. So we had anywhere from 7 to 15 days, depending on the soldier involved. They told us it was going to take about 7 days to get back to base. Then we had to use our intuitive direction to find where the base was. So they also told us that we were allowed to use any means necessary to survive as well as to get back. And I knew, based on the temperament of some of the other soldiers, that they were not beyond taking someone's life to steal their food and supplies and whatever else was needed in order to make it back. So part of what they did was they spaced out the separation between us by giving the first person the start. Okay, you go. 2 hours later, the next person goes. And 2 hours after that, the next person goes. So it gives the person that's leaving a chance to get beyond the horizon, and so that the people that leave after don't follow, and they have their own course that they have to set. And, of course, people go in all kinds of different directions. And part of that is deliberate misdirection so that you don't have people following you where you're going. And so I remember the ship and the number of masts and the smokestack and all of the cables laying down and dangling over the different parts of the ship. Well, I found it. And it's the SS Schwabenland. Now, I did some further research on it, and according to the published information online, the SS Schwabenland was sunk by the Brits following World War II after they had filled it up, supposedly, with a bunch of chemical weapons. And now, I haven't had a chance to do more research into that, but I can tell you that chemical weapons were not widely used in World War II. I can also tell you that, okay, why would they go about collecting all of them from what would have been very widely spaced bases and depots to put it on this ship? There's something about that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and so what do you think?
Well, I think that ship, the Antarctic Germans never lost it. The Brits never sank it. And that it's sitting on an ice shelf down in Antarctica that was used by our unit as a waypoint for a drop-off on an training operation. I can tell you I saw it. It was a dead ringer for it.
Now, what about today, Jason? We're talking about the Germans a lot here. Germany today, are they involved? And what about Russia and China and Great Britain or Spain or France or Brazil? Are there any other countries involved with us besides us and Germany?
My suspicion is that each of the major industrial powers have their own secret space program of varying technical advancement. the European Union and the West have by far the most advanced. Because that's where the industrial might is. That's where the focus has been. So you have a range of competing secret space programs that are involved in their own, going about their own business. The cabal has a stranglehold over every country that has a central bank. And
I think we lost Jason. Jason, are you there? We lost Jason. Okay. That is interesting. Let's absolutely bring him back as quick as possible. That was strange.
Hello, I'm sorry.
Oh, man. We lost Jason. Let's see here. Hold on. Let me try this. Jason, are you there?
At the tone, please.
No. We have lost Jason. Let's try this again. You know, with this
hello.
With this show, I find this interesting. Okay, let's try this.
Message.
No. That's weird. Okay, Jason, let's see what happens here. Let's try this one more time. Jason, are you there?
I'm here.
For
how long, I don't know.
That was strange. What happened?
It wasn't me. It was dropped like a bad habit.
Yeah.
If you're satisfied with the message, press 1. To listen to your message, press 2.
Okay,
to erase
hold on.
and re-record, press 3. To continue recording where you left off, press 4.
I only have one line going into you right now. How is it possible that we're
If
all...
you're satisfied with the message, press 1. To listen to your message,
That were
press
what?
2. To erase and re-record, press 3.
Can
to
you hear-
continue recording where you left off,
I
press
can barely
4.
hear you.
I know. You're not listening to what's going on? That is bizarre. I only have...
If you're satisfied with the message,
Okay.
press 1.
Jason?
To listen to your message, press 2.
coming
To
in and
erase
out.
and re-record, press
we're
3.
getting,
To continue
expensive.
recording where you left off. If you're satisfied with the
Four.
message, press 1.
There-
To listen to your message, press 2.
I have-
To erase and re-record, press 3. To Sorry, you're continue having recording trouble. where Your you left message has off, been sent. press Please 4. try again later. Goodbye.
What is going on? That's like 15 phone
If you're
lines.
satisfied with the message, press 1. To listen to your message, press 2.
I have
to
no
erase
phone
and
lines
re-record,
open.
press 3. To continue recording where you left off, press 4.
I have no phone lines open. I have closed everything out.
If you're satisfied with the message, press 1. To
What
listen to
the
your message,
hell?
press 2. To erase and re-record, press 3. To continue recording where you left off, press 4.
There's nothing open. I've hung up on every phone line.
Sorry you're having trouble. Your message has been sent. Please
What
try
the
again later.
hell?
Goodbye.
Okay. Let's see if that stopped. That is, I don't know if this is going out over the airwaves, but that is bizarre. Jason, are you there?
Indeed.
Are you there?
I can barely. I'm here. For however long this lasts.
I had literally at the same time like 5 or 4, none of them were visible, of phone lines coming in from you all at the same time. And they were all saying, okay, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go back and listen. That was, I have no idea what just happened. I have no idea. You know what? You're going to have to go back and listen to that. That is, you know what? I am really glad that happened, Jason. That's like radio history. I have done thousands of interviews. I've done close to 1,000 shows, and I've never experienced that. And I thought that I experienced every single technical thing. That was bizarre, man.
Well, that makes 2 of us for a first time tonight.
Well,
targeted interference.
Yeah, well, see, this is the thing. I had no open phone lines. Everything was blank. but I had 4 messages. I couldn't turn them off because they weren't here, but they stayed live. That was bizarre. That was fun.
That's really bizarre.
That was fun.
Did you call me?
That was fun. I tried. No. I only reached out to you once. It was like it all came clouded up. That was cool.
Wow.
No,
that's really wild.
Yeah.
I've got 2 messages from you, one for 17 seconds. How about that? I'm not kidding. I'll take a picture of this and send it to you.
Yeah, you should do that and listen to this show. You can listen to the replay tonight after we're done, or listen to it tomorrow. I'm not going to edit any of that out. That stays in. That was golden. That was really cool. Okay, now let's get some more stuff in. I'm not even sure where we left off. I don't even know what we were talking about. Okay, we were talking.
I'm
about.
afraid to go there again.
I know, right? We were talking about the SS Schwabenland, but let's move on off of that to your training here on terra firma on Earth. Did the training occur above ground? I know that you talked about some underground training facilities. Is this part of the Hollow Earth? Is this something that is an existing civilization or base, or specifically built for IDARF and the Secret Space Program?
There were 18 months worth of training. The first was in what was referred to as the FIG, the Fort Indian Town Gap facility is what they called it, and it was the giant underground cave. And that was 8 months of training. That was where we also received our nanite enhancement therapies. The large portion of the first 8 months were spent learning how to use and interact with those enhancements. They included everything from anti-radiation protocols to learning how to control and use the nanites in such a way that through biofeedback we'd be able to direct healing to certain parts. And again, this is a civilization that believes in the technology being the ultimate. I don't share that. I think that we can reach a point where we won't need those nanite enhancement therapies to do the same thing, which consequently also included communications, quantum entangled communications, so that they were unhackable. We could send what we referred to as the mental messages, which included comms with higher command without having to say anything. And I tell you, that was really challenging, learning how to do that, because the modern equivalent is the autocorrect on your text. Well, if you didn't focus right, other transient thoughts that were running through your head would make it into the communication stream, and you could end up telling your commander what you really thought.
Right.
So learning how to parse that out was indeed a challenge. Everything from combat tactics to new physics to new medical treatments, using the nanite enhancement therapies for self-healing, for self-repair, for targeting areas that were weak or needed a supplement, or targeting the adrenal system of your body so that you could updose your any number of different parts of your body, from adrenaline to, you name it. So it was learning how to control those aspects of the enhancement therapies, as well as learning to use some of the new toys and the weapons systems that we were working with.
What was, Jason, we've got about 4 minutes left, and of course we will, bring you back as soon as possible, and we'll continue this and go further. But let me ask you a couple of direct questions. What was your MOS? You've mentioned ground pounding. but you've also said engineer. So what was your job assignment, and what were you trained in?
That's a good question. My conventional education and training at a college located in Florida was as a civil engineer. So having that math, science, technology background really didn't play into things because the education systems and technologies that they used, we were able to upload, if you will, whatever training we needed. If we needed to learn a new language, in which we did when it came to planetary populations, or if we needed to learn a new skill for a particular mission, which of course happened. So the MOS for the IDARF ground forces, they had different branches, if you will, similar to Western armies, like artillery, armor, engineers, infantry, and then medicine. Most of those branches, other than infantry, were filled out by the Mars Germans.
And
the MOS that I was in was as a infantry. Now, we all learned the equivalent of a combat medic skills, and we were uploaded with that information because that was part of what we had to do with the populations that we were working with, is teach them as well as help them. So we all had that training to call on when we needed to for the people we were working with, as well as for our fellow soldiers. But most of our fellow soldiers had the nanite enhancement therapies, so and those were for extreme conditions, and those situations are usually too far gone to do something for.
What was your rank going in, and did you receive any accommodation and promotions, and what was your rank when you left?
My rank going in was as a second lieutenant, and I made max rank in IDARF, which was major. Upon my return, again, the mind games didn't stop. I was at the out-processing base and attended a celebration in which I received my lieutenant colonel oak leaves, and then within a week I was being out-processed and cleaned up and sent back.
Do you receive any pay? Do you have any retirement pay?
Funny you should ask that. Part of the in-processing brief included, and again, the mind job that they pull in convincing people to be willing subjects, included what I would call a module on finances. Now, they paid you a salary while you were there, and they also charged you for your quarters, for your food, for your uniforms, and that's not that uncommon. In that, hey, look, we're going to give you, I'm just throwing out a number, give you for every $1,000, we're going to take back $200. Okay, well, all right, so it's $800. Your net take home. Well, they knew and told us, and we knew we weren't going to be spending any money. So the information they gave us was, guess what we're going to do? We're going to invest it for you. So by the time you get out and get back, you're going to have $800K plus at your disposal when you're done for retirement. Oh, wow, that sounds great. Oh, excellent. Yay. Never saw a dime of it. Lies.
What paperwork do you have? Is there anything that you're going to bring forward? Is there anything that documents any of this?
The only paperwork I have was from my conventional U.S. military service. Just like all of the other SSP whistleblowers, there is no paperwork that we have in our possession to substantiate our terms of service.
I want to thank you for this conversation tonight, and I know where you're located right now, and it's very, very late there. So thank you for that. The invitation is open, and we will get you back to continue this conversation. How many episodes of Cosmic Disclosure are ready to go? Do you have any idea?
I have no clue. That's a good question. Don't know. I know that
5, 10, 20.
I know that we did 8. Yeah, 8.
Okay, so there's 8 episodes, and 3 of which. Okay.
So my suspicion is that after they do their editing and processing and so forth, that it'll probably be somewhere around 6, maybe.
Okay. All right. So 3 have been aired, and we can look forward to another 3 coming out.
That would be my guess, but I would check with Gaia first. I don't know that. I'm not involved in that process.
I get you. Well, sure. Jason, be safe out there. Take care of your family, and I'll be in touch with you over the next couple of days. But we'll get you back here as soon as we can. And thank you for tonight and communicating with our community. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I just want to thank all the listeners for tuning in for tonight, and please go check out the next episodes as they come out. And thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jason. Be safe out there.
This is all about disclosure. I appreciate that. You too.
Absolutely. Jason Rice. Now, we have the links up for Jason over at Gaia. You can go and click at jimmychurchradio.com. If you're a member of Gaia, you know what to do. You can go find Cosmic Disclosure. A very interesting conversation tonight. And now I do want to hear from all of you. I'm going to open up the phone lines, and let's get you guys involved. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back with your phone calls after this short break. Stay with me.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and my family is safe because of Numana Emergency Food Storage. Just go to the Numana banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code Jimmy10.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. It's a pretty good conversation, wasn't it? Jason Rice coming in. What did you think? I'm going to say this. This is pretty bizarre. I'm looking at the phone lines, and one phone bank is completely jammed up. And the main lines, nothing came in on. And with, so 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. That was the phone bank that went absolutely bizarro world with Jason, and let's test that one out. It's just, I find that strange that the main phone line, nothing is coming in on, but everything is backed up over here. Very strange. 323-825-5045. You can ignore the other two phone banks because those are jammed up. But very interesting that I have, you know what, I'm just going to go to the phones. But let me just say this. I have experienced every technical difficulty imaginable on Fade to Black over the years, and certainly you have all ridden through that with me. What happened tonight, I have never experienced. That was pretty weird. And there was some whistling. Did you guys hear that? Some whistling that was going on in the background, and that weird door dropping thing. That was a whole lot of weirdness going on. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
You talking to me?
Yes, I am. Who's this?
Oh, this is Linda. I called a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, Linda, what did you think? Did you listen to the entire interview?
Just about, as much as I could. My computer kept flipping out on me. But other than that, yeah, fascinating stuff. And I'm the one whose dad was NASA's Wonder Boy. And flip side is Mom sold me to the government, and it just parallels Jason's life altogether.
So, in the past, did you, on this program or maybe others, did you listen to Corey or Emery or David and their conversations about this stuff over the last couple of years?
Oh yeah, I've heard all of them. Yeah, I've listened to a lot of stuff about this kind of thing. I actually back in the 90s ended up with a deprogrammer here in my area where I live here in Colorado, and this deprogrammer had connections and was able to do a lot, and we uncovered a lot of the garbage that's happened. And yeah. it's amazing how much, as soon as one little piece surfaces, the rest starts to surface, one thing after another. And there is a way to heal from this, too, which is really nice.
Well, thank you for checking in with us. And the opinions are going to be rolling in here for the rest of the night. And thank you for that, Linda. And we'll see you tomorrow night.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you, Linda. And let's go here. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hello, am I live?
Yes, you're live right now.
Oh, wow, Jimmy. Hey, man, this is the first-time caller. My name is Josh from San Antonio. I wanted to get right to it. My question is, I'm a veteran. I'm a military veteran, and I was served for 14 years. And when you asked him the question about his MOS, and I don't want to, think badly about Jason or anything that he was saying, but when somebody asks me my MOS, I immediately say 25 uniform.
Right. I get that. I get that. I'm a military brat, too. Okay. My dad retired. He was in the Army. He was in the Army band. He wasn't in the infantry or anything like that. But nonetheless, I grew up on Army bases all around the world. And I know military speak.
Right. So you get it.
Yeah, I do. And I'm feeling for the same things that you are. There's no doubt about it. Every time that I have brought up this question with many, many, many guests over the years. Ultimately, immediately after that, I'll have somebody that will call in, like yourself, that is served, and go, that seemed a little bit funky to me, right? That's not how to. Right. I'll be straight with you. That's why I asked the question.
And what made me so attracted to Corey's testimony was he was so right on with a lot of this. When you asked him about his military service, a lot of his jargon couldn't be copied. It was so natural for him to speak. Some of the military terms, some of the things he said about the military, he said it so naturally. And
this is the other strange part, though, about Jason. Jason did serve. Right now, he was in the military. I believe he was in the Air Force. I don't have that here, but he was a technician. I believe it was in the Air Force, and he did serve. Right, so he's got that paperwork. He's got that DD-214. So that's we have now a little bit of a conundrum, don't we? Right, we've got something strange going on here. What was your name again, Jason?
My name is Josh.
Josh.
I'm a first-time caller. I listen to your radio station all the time, Jimmy. Man, I love it, and I'm listening. I'm all ears, and I'll be waiting to see the next episodes of. I actually, I'm going to go back with Gaia, and I'm going to check out his episodes, and I'm going to look further into this. I've seen everything from Corey and all that, but. Thanks for answering my call, Jimmy.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. Behave and be well out there. We'll see you tomorrow night right here.
All right, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And I'll say it every single time that I have somebody on that talks about military service, and we bring up things like MOSs and DD-214s, and you need to be pretty quick on that. But the other part of it with Jason is that he did serve. I believe he was in the Air Force. I could be wrong. Let's go to area code 661. You're up next. Ooh, I got noise. You're up next. 3, 2, 1. That's got to go. All right, let's go to area code 813. 813. How did you know?
Jimmy, I love the show, Jimmy.
Absolutely.
I want to tell you, first-time caller, and I've listened to them all. And I got to say, this guy doesn't really pass a sniff test.
Doesn't pass a sniff test for you?
Just saying. I love Corey. I love David. Emery's cool. This guy he doesn't bring anything to the table. But I'm not knocking anyone. And again, Jimmy, love the show, man.
Yeah, and let's all remember one thing. This is Jason's first time, right? First time on the radio, and of all things, you get on the big stage of Fade to Black, and this audience has extremely high standards. And trust me, Jason understands that, but so does this audience, right? And so there you go. Let's get a few more shows in with him and a few more interviews.
We'll give him a chance, but he has to bring something to the table, right? You want to eat with the big boys, you got to bring something to the table.
That's right. And let's go back. Let's remember to Corey's first couple of times on this show. You remember how nervous Corey was?
You're right.
I mean,
he was shaking up.
He could barely talk.
All right, we'll give him a shot then, Jimmy. That's what I said. We'll give him a shot. 3-4 shows. We'll see how he does, and then go from there. How about that?
That's right. What's your name?
Hey, it's Rudy, man. I'm in Tampa.
Thank you, Rudy in Tampa. Thank you for the phone call.
Take care, Jimmy. God bless.
You too, man. And I mean that. And that's Rudy couldn't be more spot on the money. Let's go to area code 661. You're up next.
Jimmy.
Yes.
Hey, it's Jay out in Lancaster.
Hey, Jay in Lancaster. How are you?
Good. I talked to you a couple of weeks ago about the secret space program we got out here in Lancaster.
I do remember the phone call.
And hey, man, this guy Jason you just had on. Wow, what a guy! The stuff he's gone through. And hey, what happened with your phone line, man? Did they didn't like what he had to say, huh?
That was insane. I still can't. I've never seen that. Where I wish I should have turned the cameras around on the screens here so you could see what was happening. It was going flop, 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 ingoing and outgoing, but I had no phone lines lit up. It was all doing that on its own. So I
called in earlier and it hung up on me right when you pulled me on.
It was just right. Bizarro. It was Bizarro world. I don't know how to explain it. It was fun, though.
Sometimes they don't like what these guys have to say. They try to shut them down.
I had nothing open, and the phone lines were still active, and they were acting like it was a busy signal. It was trippy. Hey, Jay, thank you for the phone call, man, and we'll see.
Hey, listen, that guy. For them to promise him all that money, boy, he sure got the shaft. I bet you a lot of these guys are really pissed off about that.
It was a pretty interesting reaction out of him about that.
Man. Hey, you have a good night, Jimmy. Thanks for getting my call.
Yeah, you too, Jay. We'll see you tomorrow night right here on Fade to Black. Let's go here. Area code 519. You're up next on Fade to Black. Who's calling? Okay, nobody there. I'll go to the next line. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, this is DeFango. How you doing, Jimmy Church?
DeFango? No way.
Yeah,
how are you, man?
The real DeFango. I was just been listening into the show, was playing some video games, and just figured I would give you a call and say hello. How you doing, man?
How are
Love
you?
The show.
How are you?
Well, I'm doing well.
Rumors are you are Q.
That was the original rumors, and part of those rumors are true. I mean, I don't have anything to do with what's going on now, and I can't say that I support it, but it's happening.
You know what's funny, DeFango? When I had gotten a couple of emails going, "Hey Jimmy, man, you got to get a hold of DeFango. He is Q," and I thought, it almost fit. In a weird way, you're smart enough, DeFango, to beat Q. And I thought, you know what? If Q is DeFango is Q and Q is DeFango, he's going to let us know, and I won't disclose it. But maybe he'll. But you're saying it wasn't you, or you are not Q.
I mean, I was never directly the person that was posting this Q. My job is just always 100% gathering information for other folks to actually utilize within posting. And I mean, it was a pretty big group. There was a guy named Michael Chip out there that was actually doing most of the main postings. And I mean, when we gave it up right around the same time as that move from 4chan to 8chan happened.
Yep.
Like that's when we gave it up. And since then, whatever you've seen has been part of this gigantic show that we've been creating for people so they can literally see that not only can an individual, some regular guy like me and a couple other people really change the face of how people are looking at things at the internet. People can literally see now who's real and who's not based off of some of the information that's come out on the QAnon thing, because, why are they putting out some of this bad information mixed in with good information? It's a really, really weird situation.
And what did you think about Jason tonight and what he had to say?
I thought he had some pretty interesting things to say. I mean, I was like the previous callers, I was a little worried about how quickly he was or was not to say certain things. And overall, I think that he's definitely owed a shot to talk about some more stuff, because he had some very interesting information.
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough to come on a show like this when you're in his position out of the gate, right? There is no look. You know what it was like when you first came on Fade to Black, and it's not an easy thing to do. And the other part of it is there is no dress rehearsal, right? There's no practicing. You just go from standing still to light speed, and you've got to how do I say that? You can't hit rewind, right? There's no redos. This is live radio, right? There is none of that. There's no practicing. You just come straight into it, and I will give anybody credit that does just that. It is not easy. It is definitely the hot seat. And I thought Jason, thought Jason did fine. And the other, there were some weird things that went down. Did you listen to the whole thing? Did you hear that phone weirdness that went down?
Yeah, I was trying to. That's kind of like what got me interested in calling in, because I was like, I don't know how you guys' phone system works, but that just was super, super strange.
That was, and they were layered on top of each other, right? And they were just they were firing off here, and I was hanging up, and how do I say this? I want everybody to understand. There were no open phone lines. There was nothing here, but the audio was still there and coming in and layered. That was weird. That was weird, man.
It sounded like, because most of the phone lines are what you call SIP trunk IPX.
That's right.
Right? Well, most of them nowadays are like internet IPX, and the only time I've ever heard anything that sounds similar is like when a connection has been left open, and for some reason it's not closing it, so it just keeps on trying to reopen the connection, so it's like tapping itself. So it's the connection's like rebroadcasting itself over and over again.
That's right. But what is interesting here, when you have any phone line, any trunk action that is going on, that you can't bring in you can't join two calls. That's it. The call will get a busy signal on its end, but there's no way to do that. This happened on one phone line where I had 4 or 5 calls all active at the same time and out of my control. Layered, too. It was weird.
It was weird. It was layered.
It was fun.
Like, I've never seen that.
No. It was out of control. That was the other thing. I couldn't even keep up with it. And I shut everything down, and they were still live, layered too. They were out of. That was, man. Defango, behave, man.
You had the webcam on, right?
Yeah, I did. So yeah.
Oh, we're gonna go scrub back and see that.
Yeah, everybody can watch me losing my mind. Hey, I've got to get you back on the show. So let's talk about that, and we'll get you on for a real conversation again.
All right. Well, sounds great, Jimmy Church. Thanks so much for your time, man. Keep up the good work, sir.
Thank you, Defango, and you too, my friend.
All right, brother.
Thank you. And if everybody remembers going back to Cicada and the way that all of that was breaking down, that was Defango. Right there. That was Defango. How cool is that? Let's. Do I have time for one more? Do I have time for one more? Okay, one more call. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
My life?
Yeah, you're live right now.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so I'm a first-time watcher, actually, and I find it really, really weird that this happened the first time I was watching because, like, my friend that got me hooked on this messaged me, like, right before it happened, and she was like, it's 11:11. And to me, numbers and synchronicities are, like, really important.
Right.
And, like, I was brushing my teeth, and I wasn't really even, like, listening. And then I looked over, and it said 11:11, and I'm like, that's weird. Maybe I should pay attention. And then sure enough, like, I walked into the other room, and then it started happening, like, nonstop. And I'm like, ooh, this is a synchronicity. And I just felt like I should tell you that because I feel like it was important to know.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. What was your name, by the way?
Oh, my name's Sophie. Hi.
Hi, Sophie. What was strange? I wasn't looking at the clock. That was the last thing on my mind. But I did glance over onto Twitter, and somebody had posted, dude, that happened at 11:11. I didn't realize that, but you did, and it lasted. It probably went on for about 3 or 4 minutes. That was
it did. Like I think I looked at the clock like maybe shortly after it ended, and it was like 11:18.
Right. Okay. Yeah. 7 minutes. It was crazy, and I'll say this, Sophie. I've experienced everything. I've had power outages. I've had earthquakes on the air. I've had thunderstorms. I've had calls drop and strangeness and sounds in the background and just weird things. I'm used to it. That was the first time. I have never, ever seen anything like that go that haywire, that crazy. And it was what was weird, just so everybody knows, I was, sitting there in the middle of, he was in the middle of a sentence and it stopped. I'm looking, his call was still live, so I was hoping he was going to come back. I could see that. And at that moment, everything just went crazy. Pop, 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 pop. It just, I had up on my screen 5 phone calls from him with his original phone call live. All of the phone calls that were coming in from him were his outgoing voicemail message. Now, how was that possible? I have no idea.
I don't know, but like the weirdest thing about it too is that like I am very, I'm also an empath. Of course, I'm not, up there with Corey, but like when all this was happening, I was getting just like a weird vibe, like right before it happened too, kind of like that vibe, like when somebody's like watching you and you get kind of uncomfortable, like you can feel their eyes on you.
Right.
And I was like, ooh. What the hell is this?
I know, right? That was it was fun. I'm glad that it happened. For our audience and for you to go through that experience, and we all did it together. I can't explain it. All I know is that it happened, and it just shows everybody that things like this, strange things happen.
It's just another synchronicity that aligns. That shows you, like, this is it. This is real,
Thank you, Sophie. First-time caller, and I'm glad that your friend told you about the show, and you got to ride this out, and then you got through on the phone lines. So there you go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks. I'll keep watching.
Thank you, Sophie. Be safe and be well. We'll see you tomorrow night right here.
You too. Bye.
Bye. It happened at 11:11. Yeah, I was watching Twitter when somebody posted that, 11:11. And she's right. It went on for probably 3, 4, 5 minutes. That was nuts. That was cool. That was fun. And I got to thank Jason Rice for not only coming in tonight, but for causing the mayhem on the phones. I've never seen anything like that, and I can't wait to hear it again for myself and see if I can figure everything out. Tomorrow night is Fader night right here. It is open lines all night long. John Rappaport's going to be here with us, No More Fake Newsroom Live. And until then, Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. Thank you to Jason Rice. Amazing conversation tonight. Thank you so much. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Until tomorrow night, everybody be safe. Go back, Lee Tappy.